So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. Those of you who are listening along and not watching along, we are the Unpanderers. Dan.
Together. Mm-hmm.
And we're doing an episode today about our military and the people in it, our veterans, our memories of those people.
The troops.
Yep.
So we like to keep things light, so we're not too crazy, but do want to pay some respect, you know?
Yeah.
We all know some troopies, some troopers, some troops.
Yeah. We got, you had somebody in your family that was military, right?
I did. My grandfather, whose name is the exact same name as my name, who's the exact same name as my dad. I think he served in World War I as like a Ute, a very young Ute. I don't even know if he was legally of age because they did a lot of number fixing back in the day.
Yeah.
And he joined the Navy, and I think he saw some action, but nothing real serious. And World War II came around, and he was like 35. And he 35, 40 or something. Someone do the math. He was like older. No. And he wanted to join again. And they were like, you're too old. And he's like, I need to join again. And they let him. And everyone, no, they let him. And everyone on the boat called him Grandpa. Because he was like 38 or something. But I don't know. Someone's got to do the math. I don't have it in front of me. And the stories, I only have like one version of the story. It's very not specific.
So I think we've avoided being in the military because we're now almost that age.
Right, probably. That we're like, if they have a draft, they're like, you guys, just stay home. And it's like, no, we're good.
Just do a podcast about the military. You're fine. You did
you
that
one.
Be our
ground support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll fly the drones. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be pretty good at it. So the robots that play Call of Duty will be a robot on the ground.
It would be pretty good if they're Call of Duty controls. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel sorry for the other team.
Oh, yeah. Team. That's how it breaks it down.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any relatives that did that kind of thing?
Grandfather. He trained, but he never went. He was one of the last ones called to go, and then he was doing like training in Florida. And
we don't need you.
Yeah, we're good. And he's just like, thank God.
Cool. Lucked out, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people did die. You know, it's pretty, a lot of family members people lose. And then there are people who have like career military family members. Takes a lot.
Yeah. Generations and generations of people. My neighbor.
Right, but okay.
My neighbor was in it. And we can talk about the reasons people get in it and get out of it a little bit later. But he's an inspirational guy because he was just kind of calm. His nature made it seem like he was part of the military because it's just like, yeah. He's not going to freak out about anything. He's just going to do what he needs to do, and he's just calm. Everything's
a job. Living is a job. Dying is a job. This is a job. This is a job. Makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a drama queen out there, you know what I'm saying? Well,
they're shooting bullets at us! They're shooting bullets at us!
There's too many guns! You can't have it. I mean, I would,
I dropped my grenade! It's like, grenade, what? Oh, so
no! Be honest. Do you think anything you could do with real live gunfire around you? No one ever knows till it happens. We can say, I'd be super tough, or I would pee my pants. You might be too scared to be afraid. Like some people, I feel like become like almost heroic because like they're like, wow, you just kept shooting when everyone around you died. And you're like, I didn't notice. It was so loud. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's bravery is a funny thing.
I would hide as best as I could and find like the nook where I could shoot out of.
Okay,
like,
so you're still helping, but you're still helping, but you're kind of cowardly. Not cowardly. What's the word?
Smart.
You're preserving yourself. Smart.
Intelligent.
Say that.
Do something that's not stupid. I think it's the way to do it, though. If you're like a SWAT team and you're breaking into a building.
Listen, if it's the way to do it.
I know how it works.
Hands in the air! Get down now!
The victim has died.
Yeah. The survivors have died.
Yeah.
I used to go in everywhere with a beanbag shotgun and just start blowing beanbags at everyone, man. Get down, hands where I can see them.
Everyone's on the floor writhing, and you're just like, victory.
Yeah, just arresting everyone. Zip ties, zip ties, zip ties. I like to think that I'm pretty calm in moments of crises. Like if I see a car accident or someone gets really hurt or something crazy's going on, I'm always like, facts. I'm pretty calm. I don't know if I would be that way with a gun going off around me and stuff. But
I think outwardly I'm pretty calm, but inside my heart's like beating like crazy, and I can feel my blood throbbing. And I'm standing still and not doing very much. Just like, okay, I'm assessing, but inside I'm just like I feel
like a duck on the pond, right?
No idea.
Calm on the surface, but underneath, them legs turn in a mile.
Yeah.
From a movie, I actually don't remember.
Clarifications for next time.
For next episode. But anyway, why are there troops?
I've been asking myself this
all day. Well, you ruined it. It's because there's war, folks. We wouldn't need troops if we didn't have war. So quick shout out. This holiday is really about war. And we want to take a moment to commemorate war. Great
How
thing.
much it sucks, but we won some of them. So we're doing okay. What do you think our record is? It's probably like, what? 2 or 3 for maybe 8? 6?
I want to say 4 for 8.
4 for 8? You're going to count. So which wars are you counting as a win for the United States? So 1?
Korean. I don't know why.
2,
I just don't.
Korean.
World War 1 and 2, clear. We're a clear case winner.
3.
Hold on. Civil War, did we win? Hell yeah.
I guess we did.
You flying a Confederate flag? You lost.
I'm in the South, so I don't know about that. You're right. But I don't have that belief system.
Okay. We kind of won the Afghanistan war. We're still in.
Yeah, I don't know.
We didn't lose it. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. Call. I guess when you lose a war, you don't really talk about it anymore. It's like that, that stepsister that you don't want to associate with. It's like, Vietnam? I don't... Is she still around? She's right next to you.
I broke up with her. It says here, she broke up with you. Bad. Hey, no, I broke up with her. That's all wrong.
Yeah.
That's hearsay.
You lost a few members in there? Huh.
Oh, yeah, I lost a big member in there. So I did a little research on wars, etc., blah, 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 blah. So we're doing we invaded Iraq in 2003. They call it the Iraq War. It ended in 2011.
So-called, yeah.
I couldn't 100% tell you what it was about. Was that weapons of mass destruction?
Sure. That's the reason we went in there, because 2001,
even though it's in a different country. But anyway.
That whole area. So one of the reasons we go to war is to, get resources. I'm going to go through the list. This is a quick list.
He's got a list. Hold on.
Economic gain to territorial gain. Religion, nationalism, revenge, civil war, revolutionary war, and defensive war. So the reason for that war was A, oil, and B, not necessarily territory, but
pretty ironic because almost all of the wars are A and B, aren't they?
Well, unless you should go like Crusades.
We didn't do a Crusades. It wasn't United States Crusade.
But it was a war that happened about religion.
I agree. I was saying United States wars are all about A and B usually, aren't they?
I guess it depends on which side you're on. Because if you're World War II, then you're Germany, you're fighting for nationalism, right?
And a little bit of revenge, right?
From being shot down in World War I, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of 4 and 5.
But I was saying United States. I'm just saying. Now, what about like countries we invade constantly, like the aforementioned Vietnam and all that, Afghanistan, Iraq? Aren't they kind of fighting a war of defense?
Yeah, that's ideology, I think, which isn't in this damn list. Terrible.
Isn't a war of defense the most
justified?
Yeah, the strongest position.
I think so.
Of war position.
So I'm curious when the United Nations started. Because
I don't have people on that. We could look that up. But a lot of wars happened in America's history. I didn't have them. There was a list. It was like a mile long. I didn't realize we were vaguely involved in some Russian civil wars, and vaguely involved in like the Sudan release of prisoners in 1971.
That's like you get like the Navy SEALs going in,
right?
And just kind of
you just get one team in, and it's like you were involved in that war. I was like, ooh, yeah, that's a lot.
So the United Nations was founded on October 24th, 1945, at San Francisco.
Was that a point of the World War
II? It was probably one of the terms of.
Yeah, I think it was.
It makes sense because now you don't get people outright attacking countries that we care about. Because
one of the big guys.
Yeah, because a defensive war against the United Nations nation would probably result in World War III.
It would. That makes sense. We can get into actual weapons and everything and why.
Yeah, sure. You want to do it? Can we get in there?
No, I want to real quick just go over the numbers of actual wars.
Sure.
So, Iraq War, right? It's been going on for roughly 10 years. It's officially over. I don't know. We still have troops over there. I'm sure people still get blown to pieces.
Mm-hmm. That's a shame.
I agree. Here's an interesting thing. Let's talk about this because this is going to come into play when we talk about individual soldiers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And wars. No one knows how to count the dead.
That's true.
No
it
one.
Gets kind of hazy.
No
one's out. No one's out there counting because they're trying to dodge bullets and stuff.
100%. And another thing is people inflate their own numbers. People double count bodies. No one realized this, but during the war, the other side like to take their dead with them if they can. You know, if it's your best friend or whatever, you're taking them back. If you can, you're retreating. You take the body.
Yep.
Some people are medevaced and die later. Some people are literally blown to smithereens. There's no body. Large-scale grenades, bombs, landmines go off, stuff like that. They don't count them.
Yeah.
There's literally dozens of reasons.
Carnage.
Yes. So no one actually knows how many people die. There's double accounts. There's people who desert their post before it happens. So once the war clears over, it's like, oh, he's not here. He must have died.
Mm-hmm. He changed his name, and now he lives in Poland.
Right. He's gone.
He's wearing a wig, and now he's a woman.
We respect that.
Daniela.
Got a lot of Polish in you.
Yeah, I do.
I could thought so. But I got some numbers on some wars, right?
Uh-huh. So these are numbers as they were taken during the war.
Wikipedia, sure.
Yeah.
Wikipedia's version of numbers. Okay. It's just what,
It's easy. I'm not going to doubt you on that one.
Okay. Iraq, the one we were just discussing, about 10 years. We've heard about it for forever. People die.
Tens of thousands?
200,000 to one.
Sorry. I apologize. Keep going.
Both sides.
Both sides. Well, do you have the U.S. numbers?
No, it was both sides to the war. You can look up U.S. casualties. It's probably way more. Or no, it's probably way more the other way. Yeah, it's way fewer. U.S. casualties probably closer to 10,000, 20,000. I would guess. Good. Probably just the Iraq war.
So they said about 5,000 deaths and 30,000 wounded, which is wounded in action, WIA, which I've never seen.
Neither have I. But it's interesting that, like, I've heard about that forever, and it's, like, a big part of everyday life, and people get deployed over there, and everyone's worried they're going to die. Not a lot died.
It's kind of a small number, but 4,000 is a lot. But how many people died in the World Trade Center?
I actually don't know the number. I thought it was in the 200s. I mean, I could be way off.
3,000. About 3,000. Yeah.
I guess first responders, everyone on the ground, everyone else. I was thinking of people in the building.
So this is insensitive. I'm going to start right there. I just say that. But like, if you compare the numbers, it's a comparative number. Like if you're going to take casualties of civilians who are not in a war, and then you're going to take people who are warriors and battle on someone else's soil, like 3,000 versus like 5,000 people, like the warriors need to step up for those 3,000 people.
Right.
It's
also not
necessity.
It's not the 3,000 people's choice at all either.
No.
Right. Well, so hold on. So I went over all the major wars that we know. As a person who grew up in the 80s, the only wars I ever heard of were World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, which I barely knew. Yep. I didn't include the Gulf War because I couldn't find any stats on it on that page.
It's supposedly quick. It was during the first Bush's
Persian Gulf. Right, correct. Afghanistan and Iraq were the major wars of my, I don't know. There were probably way more.
Historical knowledge.
Right. It's my general historical knowledge, what I grew up knowing, what I'm stupid average American, right?
I'm surprised you put yourself in that class.
Korean War, which was the 50s, 1950 to 53, 1.2 million lives lost. I was like, wow. Oh, that's a big number. Now, I imagine, again, most weren't American.
That's one of those interesting wars where you have superpowers on the other side. So, like the Northern Koreans wanted to attack the South for some reason and unify them, and the U.S. backed the South.
Because North Korea was communist at the time, I believe. So it was all the communist powers were like, well, let's spread communism. And all the southern side wasn't. I believe, I don't remember what kind of government it was, but all the non-communist free people were fighting to save the freedom. And,
it's one of those where the wars would have been won by the internal struggle of the country. Like if the country had no other outside players, they would have conquered one side or the other. But the U.S. stepped in and was like, nope. And then the U.S. started winning. And then China's like, no.
Nope. So the superpowers are actually doing the fighting through the country. It's like they're passive-aggressive fighting, which is weird.
They're slap fighting.
Right? Yeah. So, again, 1.2 million.
That's a lot of people.
General number. It is a lot. Now, I think most on the other side. How about Afghanistan war? Technically, from 1978 to present, it's not over.
Still going.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. People are. I mean, it's amazing. Like, it must be like really rugged country. You can't get in there and get it. Like, you ever see that Moab?
You don't have vacation there.
The mother of all bombs.
Yeah.
They dropped that thing on like a mountain because they thought they were like there were cave systems inside of it. Like, the thing is the biggest bomb ever to collapse those tunnel systems.
Did it work?
That was like last year. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah,
it was massive.
I just don't remember.
You got to shit your pants if you're like a terrorist and you see that thing go off. Like that's the step down from like a nuclear bomb. It also
probably fuels you to fight back harder a little bit.
Maybe, I don't know. You've got your AK-47 and you're just like shooting bullets. You see this thing just like destroys like almost an entire mountain.
But I mean, you figure that's all your people can get wiped away. The only thing you can do is fight. I don't know.
That is true.
I don't know.
That's the essence of war, right?
Right. So we'll get into that. But so moving on, Vietnam War, 1955, 1975. I didn't realize it was 20 years long. That's crazy.
That's a long time. Yeah, people get tired of it.
Right.
That's why bad publicity.
It went through ups and downs and probably kept going downs and more downs than ups. And more people dying. The death toll, and there's a lot of ranges on these, 800,000 total dead. It's at 3.8 million, which is a lot. So then we get into World War I, which was all the world's big players involved. People were sending people overseas to fight, not hand-to-hand, but just about next to hand-to-hand. Was that when the trenches started, World War I?
Yeah, that was when most of the disease was flowing through the trenches. You had like rats and all sorts of stuff.
Which is just nuts, because that's where people were like face-to-face fighting each other in a line, like that we see in movies. But 1914 to 1918, the numbers I got were 8 to 21 million. It's crazy that that's such a stretch. They estimated to 13 million dead.
In World War I. Wow.
Right. So hold on. World War II was the deadliest war in modern times, 1939 to 1945. They have it estimated between 15 million people died. That's a pretty big number. Yeah. To 85 million people died.
That would make sense. I mean, if you're gonna, because you've got a war machine, you're trying to support it with food and stuff, and you're probably stealing food from the civilians.
How many people starved because of it? How many people died of disease half a year later? What if you died 3 years later? Are you considered a casualty of war? But you died from a wound from the war, I guess, right?
I would say so. Yeah, if the war never happened, you'd be alive.
What about 10 years? What about 10 years?
You got some specifics. I hope you have a case where you're like, This guy has rheumatism from firing. He has arthritis from firing a gun too much.
It crept up his head. Yeah. But I compared it to ancient times. There's a list of ancient wars, and most of them were like thousands of people died, and it wasn't as big a deal. But it's harder to keep track back then of the dead.
That's true.
There were fewer people, and transportation wasn't the same, so not that many people could die in one.
And the weapons weren't good at math. Yeah.
And they weren't good at math because they were dumb. So I have the Three Kingdoms War, which was in China. It was between the Jin and Wei dynasty or Wu dynasty.
Huh.
It was around the time of the fall of the Han dynasty. They estimate. Again, these numbers are because the year was 184.
I like how like our
Wait, 36 to 40 million people died, they say.
So that's probably like, so I'm on my list. I have a list that's adjusted for the population at the time.
Oh, well, how does this list work? Pump my brakes.
I don't know how they adjust for it. I guess they do like population and then they inflate it as time goes on. So you said 36 million people died. I think it's the Lucien revolt is what you're talking about. But there was like a Tang dynasty, and there was a bunch of people that were like, "Oh, I'm an emperor."
Around the year 200,
8th century.
This is different.
Let me see. I don't know if that falls on my list. It's interesting.
Might be too far back. It was the earliest whatever war I could find on.
I don't fault you though, because the American educational system, the American educational system does not talk about China whatsoever. They don't care about any of the wars that happened in China.
I've never heard of one war.
Yeah, internal struggle. We're just like, it's just China. We just know it exists.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's like, yeah, way more people fighting over land than in America. Yeah, China. It's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's all we know.
Yeah. We're dumb enough to just keep reciting the same fact over and over again.
I mean, we're in school. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, China has a lot of people in it.
So you would think there's probably twice as much drama, warfare, whatever. Ooh, I didn't do this yet.
Grenade. Yeah. Oh, I dropped it. Where'd my bullets go? Got my bullets.
Just took my shoes off live on the podcast.
Oh, pound daddies.
That's real drama. No, not drama. Real joy you're seeing on my face.
Wow.
Went for a
jog. Wearing them all day?
Went for a jog.
It's not like getting gangrene when you're wearing boots all day. Not like a soldier. That's another thing, is you can't compare to a soldier. Never.
I did. When would... Am I trying to steal valor?
No, I don't think you are.
Okay. Do you know about stolen valor?
No, I don't. Is there some kind of background?
It's called stolen valor. A lot of people who start these programs for wounded vets or ex-military, or we send all our money over to the troops. This is a charity. It's very small.
Like wounded warrior?
Sure, a little bit like that, but like really small. Like we're a mom and pop organization. We donate a couple $1,000. Could you donate $100? They do that kind of stuff. Sometimes you have Marines show up at places, and it's like, this is an ex-Marine. He's out of work. He's out of this. And can you donate some money to this? This is part of a movement, a program, whatever. And people will donate. Like, people aren't total jerks. Like, good job.
Yeah, it's a good cause.
You can rent a Marine outfit. You can just buy an American flag. You can have an American flag and the name for the troops donation charity and just pocket all the money. There's nothing legally that says you have to. So anytime this kind of stuff happens, it's called stolen valor. Look it up. There's a lot of stories of this. So it's like...
People taking advantage of a war.
Exactly. And it happens a lot. I think it happened a lot back in the day as well. I couldn't find any exact examples, but stolen valor is real. And those people are jackasses.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I hope they get shot at by real soldiers. So that's our official stance. Damn panders. But I am not stealing valor, I said. Are you accusing me of it?
I'm not. I would never do that. Good. We'll talk about my list, though. My adjusted list.
Adjusted value list. Okay.
Oh, no. I just... the first one I mentioned was the Lucien revolt. And Lucien was like a guy who became an emperor, attempted to dominate China. So he had a death toll of like 36 million, which was equated to about 400 million people if we were today's.
God
damn. That's a lot.
Well, I guess it's percentage of the population.
Yeah.
Adjusted.
Most of these are China. So like the Mongol conquest, which with I think it was like Genghis Khan.
Yeah, Mongols.
Yeah, the adjusted death toll was about 300 million.
Damn.
Which makes sense because he was the one who kind of coined the term decimate. He would kill the 10th person regardless of who they were.
I think I heard this in a podcast.
Yeah, a previous podcast.
I did. Oh,
I like that fact.
Circle.
He decimated a people. Middle East slave trade. That's a lot. 130 million people. Ming Dynasty. A lot of this Chinese stuff that I never knew about. 100 million people. Adjusted for today's time. The fall of Rome. 100 million people. And Tamerlane. That guy.
We talked about him in the Bad Leaders.
Yeah. He's right about 100 million people. And then this one hits home This is one we never talk about again because we're shameful.
We lost.
Annihilation of the American Indians.
Oh, a Trail of Tears type deal.
92 million adjusted for today's time, which was 20 million back then, which is a lot.
It is a lot.
Some of that might be disease, but again,
Not
we
some
treated
of it.
them
A lot of it was. I agree. Now,
Trail of Tears, we forced them to move unceremoniously from their land.
What would happen if they weren't susceptible to our disease, though? We were clearly pushing them and trying to steal their stuff, but it would have been different. I imagine.
I don't know. That's one of the things that I'm afraid of. Like,
do you think
maybe
our technology was too bad?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like I'm afraid that like maybe there's a country out there that's developing AI technology and robots, and we have treatises to say that we're not going to do that. But if another country does do that and then starts to dominate, what are you going to do?
No, we have a treaty. You're not allowed to.
I have this piece of paper and a bullet just comes right through it.
Yeah.
So that's the scary thing, is that wars are persistent things because people are constantly battling, getting better, learning from each other. It's just constant intelligence to learn about.
Not to mention, there's only limited land and resources, and more people.
Yeah, and there were stats back then, like the was it Mao Zedong? He thought that the perfect number was like somewhere around 500 or 700 million people in his country. So it's like he didn't even try to improve like the way food is made or sent around the country. He just was like, too bad.
More people will die. It'll be good for us, though. Trust me.
Let's even it out by not having more children.
Well, you're talking about some pretty bad dudes. I don't like that. Can we talk about any good dudes?
I want to get to one. So there's two more things I want to say. Atlantic slave trade. That's in there, about 80 million people. And then the Second World War. I just wanted to get to that one because that's the benchmark. There's about 55 million people adjusted.
That's interesting. I wonder why the numbers. Oh, actually, the number is higher if you take the mean. So the war averaged at 36.6. They did a mean average because no one knows how many people died.
Yeah.
So 55 would still be an increase, but by population density. I
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Good research there, pal.
Yeah, I liked it. I specifically searched for that because I was like, it doesn't make sense in today's terms to talk about, like, if you had a war when they're like Adam and Eve leave the garden and kill somebody, that's like 10% of the population or something.
That's a lot of the population right there. You just decimated them, as we would say in the biz. Versus now, you can kill 1 million people. You can kill 100 million people.
Drop in the bucket. Still terrible.
Just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Awful bucket. What do you got? What's the next?
I was going to talk about American war heroes and other war heroes.
Sure.
Did you do any research on General Patton?
I did not.
My man, General Patton, 5-star general. He was one of the first. They started 5-star generals in 1940. I actually didn't write it down. 45, 44. So I'm guessing during World War II. He served in World War One. His sister, no, that was a different person. Forged the papers. That was someone else. An email.
Oh, did you see?
Yeah, I did. I read the first 5 sentences.
Yeah, I'll talk about that guy.
Oh, good. Talk about him because I think I started crossing their paths. And if you know his story, I'll definitely get it straight. Okay.
Yeah, Audie Leon Murphy. He was the most decorated officer in World War. I'm going to say II. Yeah, World War II. So he falsified papers to get in there because he was like 15 or 16 at the time. He dropped out of 5th grade to.
This is a common thing. I'm telling you.
It's crazy because it's not that far. It's like 100 years ago. The guy dropped out so he could feed his family. It's like, it's awful. So he joined this war when he was 15 or 16. By the time he's 19, he's doing things that like an officer or like someone you think would be like in your mind would be like 30 or 40.
35, 40.
Yeah. He's doing crazy stuff to support the war. And he's doing a ton. So he's the most decorated man in World War II and he has a list that I have to scroll down. It's like crazy. There's like 30 different awards that he got.
Some valor going on there. Some real valor.
Imagine if you like went speeding through your town and you were a cop and you pulled him over and then he just like had on this like chest full of medals. It's like, I'm not, sir?
Sir, well, I reached for my paperwork. Can you see my lapel?
Yeah. So he was in a whole bunch of battles, and he did a lot of amazing stuff. He was like, most of these people are like sharpshooters, so they're smart about the way they approach things, and they're hunters too. So like, if you're going to see like the following two, which I think you're going to bring up, like this guy knew what he was doing. The sad part about it is that he did all this stuff when he was really young, like is entirely from like age like 16 to 19. So like imagine being in high school and doing all this. I don't know if it says how many people he actually killed.
Me just trying to wake up and not J-O into the wrong sock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Versus killing 100 people.
Versus killing 100 and so people.
Yeah. The sad part about it is that he came back. He was a famous actor during that time period.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Some of these people spun off into careers in politics or acting. But he also had post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Mm-hmm. And he had a loaded gun, so he would sleep with a loaded gun under his pillow. So it's like, like,
bad idea. But
yeah.
You know what, though? If someone's going to do it, this guy, he knows how to use it. I mean, is he going to accidentally shoot himself? I mean, Oscar Pistorius type thing? That was a weird segue, but like he claims he accidentally shot his woman. I don't remember if she was a wife at the time.
Oscar
like,
Pistorius.
Do you know what I mean? You wake up and you're a sharpshooter, so like you wake up and boom, 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 boom.
So the backstory on that guy is that he was
I didn't know.
amputated, right? He has a fake. Yeah. He has a leg. He's an Olympic athlete, and so the story is that he woke up in the middle of the night. He thought someone was moving around his house.
In his bathroom, right? Now, meanwhile, he has a girlfriend or wife. I can't remember which it was.
I thought he shot her while she was on the toilet. I'm not positive.
Yeah, he shot through the door, I think.
Yeah, he shot through the door.
So it's like, the bathroom door.
How logical are you to think that someone's in your bathroom stealing stuff?
Hence, they say he really murdered her.
Yes. I don't know what
Unless
it comes out that
he... Oh, my God. I feel like he was found innocent, but maybe I'm wrong. And I was like, that son of a gun got off. He played the
convicted.
no legs card.
He was convicted.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
2013. Wow, that time goes fast.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, no, I'm sorry, but someone with PTSD or something, like, you figure it's not a good idea to have a loaded handgun because, like, someone's walking into the room or, like, leaving the room.
Kill anybody, you know.
Right, and it's not like, it wouldn't be an accident because he's a trained murdering sharpshooter. He's, like, really good with a weapon. It's not like he'd miss. He'd be like, wowzers. He'd be like,
Scooby-Doo with a gun.
Yeah, no, he'd blow like 9 holes in you before he really thought about it. You know what I mean?
But imagine if you had killed somebody with your own hands, or if you had woken up to find people killing your soldier mates.
Friends.
Yeah,
so you would immediately shoot, or you would immediately react.
So in that case, like having a gun under your pillow is like, oh, this guy's he's ready. You know, he's just prepared.
Yes, but in our daily lives, I don't know. Well, this is a different daily life.
It's a different
life. Everyone's favorite. Chris Kyle?
Yeah. American
Sniper. American Sniper? Did you see that?
I did. Yeah.
Is it, he has 160 confirmed kills.
Which is pretty good. I mean, good.
It's good, especially because a confirmed kill includes a lot of details. Like, it's like he could have killed 200, 250 people. Who knows?
Yeah. And it's weird when they have to report it back. Like, the way they report things back now is more,
Did you know the U.S. Army and the U.S. Navy, I believe, I don't know about the Air Force and everything else, do not actually record kills. Officially. The branches within do.
Huh. So they don't report it up and out. They keep it classified until it gets declassified, maybe, and then...
Yes, maybe that would make sense. But either way, that's another reason why these numbers like seem to... And that's another funny thing. Like sometimes newspapers will release the information. They're like 400 were killed in Baghdad today, blah blah blah. But really, that number is based on whose intel? American intel of Baghdad, and it's not just America. It's SEAL Team 6 combined with the naval team here that was stationed here and what they saw, combined with what the people on the ground in civilians might tell them, and they combine all that information and be like, it's like 200. And then they'll print it, but that's not official numbers.
Yeah. Plus, in the situations where you have like a definitive like boundary that you can't cross, like there's no way to count.
Right. Correct. So it's very weird stuff. Anyway, good number. He had PTSD. Eventually, kind of led to him losing his life. I thought that movie did pretty good.
Yeah, there were situations where he had to morally choose what was right and wrong. And
Bradley Cooper, the fake baby.
Yeah.
Good scene.
Fake
baby
child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So hold on, I did have something interesting. So he's a sniper, right? Snipers don't kill as many people just by proxy. Well, I guess it depends.
I don't know, because they get to survive longer. They get to pick and choose who they kill. They get to see and pick.
They do, but they don't see as many people, I don't think. It's not like a sniper hangs out on the bell tower and is shooting while the war is going on, usually. Sniper has trained targets. They have people they're supposed to take out. Sometimes they camp out for days, weeks at a time, looking for one guy's habits, really look for the open shot. I digress. My man, Mikhail Surkov, is a sniper, Russian. He has 702 confirmed World War II kills for a sniper.
702?
Correct. He's the most hailed sniper of all time. People will argue because it's Russian numbers. Like, they cook the books.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
Who knows? I don't know, but 702 is a friggin' lot. So then, let's get real crazy. Let's talk about the soldier who had the most confirmed kills of all time. Who had his name?
I did mention his name. What was his name?
Dillard Johnson, my man. So
I read a story about Dillard Johnson that said he had like 2,700 kills as like an infantryman.
2746.
And
yeah. It's under dispute. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's under dispute. He came out and said that something was weird about the numbers, and he even said it himself. Like, this is summarizing it, but he said there's no way I killed that many people. I think the numbers are more like 100 something, and it got inflated somehow through his memoirs, because he wrote his memoirs through a ghostwriter who then inflated them, and then it came back as like a plot for almost a movie, and he's like, whoa, wait. Like, I don't want to go down in history. It's like,
but you don't accidentally go above Mikhail Surkov's number. You don't accidentally go above Chris Kyle's number. Do you know what I'm saying?
702 was
702. Mikhail, spelled Mikhail.
So this is great.
What you got on Surkov? Go ahead.
So there's not Surkov, but there's a Finnish guy named Simo Heiha.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
He was in Finland, and someone started invading his country, the Soviet Union, and so he went out. He was a natural hunter. Because those people. He went out.
He just went out one day. He's put on his clogs.
He dressed in all white, so it's a snowy backdrop. They called him the White Death because they couldn't see him. They didn't know where his shots were coming from. He's credited with killing 705 people.
Take that, Russia!
So he killed like 500 people with his rifle.
That's nuts.
I mean, would you even enter that territory if you knew you were a soldier? Like, I would just be like, okay, we're gonna go over. Nope.
So you get into a weird territory. What do you do when you're told to do it? Let's say your faction is getting decimated, or even worse, shredded. There's a tank over there. You and like a ragtag group of 40 men are in one infantry group. Your corporal, your whatever he's called,
he commands you to do something stupid.
Sure, your boss, your military boss. Depends on what rank you are and what rank he is. I didn't want to. He says, "No, we got to march over here. They told us to," and you're like literally marching in certain death. They have a tank. They've killed like 7 infantry groups that were better than you, and you're just one group. And most of the guys in your troop are shitheads. What do you do? I mean, do you just march in there and you go like, maybe we'll do okay? I hope we get good.
So I'm gonna pretend to march. I'm moving towards my goal slowly. I'm really gonna hide in that bush over there.
First Private Dan, why are you walking so slow?
Yeah, Lieutenant Dan.
Cramps.
Oh, I got hit.
Yeah.
The medic comes over. I'm just like, we're both gonna die if we run over there.
Yeah.
Another thing is infantry.
Mm-hmm.
You ever think about the word infant?
No. What is it?
It really means like youthful army.
Ooh,
so it's like the people that I heard about this in I think it was Blood Diamond. Because they recruited the teenagers and the youth to fight in their war. So they were literally infantry because they were almost infants.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, so they call the people that just run in blindly infantry. It's like, so if you're infantry, you're fucked.
You kind of are.
But I would definitely subvert. I would find a way not to die. I would be like offering suggestions. And it'd be like, no, you just gotta march. March on the tank. I'd be like, I should have done something different.
Today. This guy's getting court-martialed. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, dishonorable.
Do you hear, so we talked about Chris Kyle. We talked a little bit about PTSD. General Patton, one of the most decorated war heroes ever. He fought in World War One, fought in World War II.
Yep.
His nickname was Old Blood and Guts. Good name.
Good name. Yeah.
He was so hardcore. I think I don't remember what country they were in. This was during World War II. I heard a story. He went into a hospital where one of soldiers was, and he didn't want to fight. I don't know if this is in Germany, France. I can't remember.
The soldier didn't want to fight.
Soldier didn't want to fight, and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And he said, "I'm just really scared. I've never been this scared in my life." General Patton just smashed him across the face and grabbed his gun and tried to shoot him in the head.
Wow.
And they stopped him. And, everybody calmed him down and whatever. And he said, I just can't believe he won't want to fight for his 400,000 brethren. And it's a little weird. That's a little hardcore. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Most celebrated guy ever. Do you know what he used to do to his two kids? Or two or three kids? This is two or three of the kids. I heard they were in a podcast I was listening to.
Oh, yeah.
And they said their dad used to say, you can't flinch with pain because that lets the enemy know, or something a little bizarre.
Tweaky.
I think they were sons, so it's not girls. He only did this to the boys.
Which makes it slightly better, I guess.
He would put his cigar out on their arm and say, just don't flinch. You'll be okay. And if you flinch, I'll beat holy hell out of you. So, wait, out of the two sons, the one figured out, this is the brighter of the two, that the first one to get the ashes wasn't as bad. For some reason, the second time you get the ashes is worse. I don't know if because it's smoldered longer or it's getting dulled, I don't know, or
it
burning back.
Burns quicker.
There was no logic. I have no idea. He just started always volunteering to go first and hoping to God he didn't flinch at the time. Now, tell me that guy doesn't have PTSD, like crazy stuff going on.
Someone lights up a cigarette, he twitches a little bit.
And again, I'm not against him being a hero for the American people, but there is a tipping point where you go too far.
Yeah, there's a way you become a machine, and it's illogical for the average person to be that. If the average person is a machine like that, there's a problem.
But you also, what you just said, you lose your humanity, quite literally.
Yeah.
If you're a machine, you're not a human anymore. So you give away all your humanity, then what's the point? Who are you fighting for? Does it even matter? You'd be fighting for either side if you're a machine, right? Yeah. You don't care.
Doesn't matter. So that's the humanity part of it. When you're fighting a country or an idea, you're fighting the commies or you're fighting the Nazis. And if you're an actual warrior, you've killed a person. So at a certain point, you might realize that you've killed people that could be your friends. I've heard stories of people that say, like 20 years later, they're like, I was at this spot fighting someone here and I shot this person. And then they say, like, they find that the person that was on the other side, they were like, yeah, you shot my friend. And then those people like start talking and they're like, these are regular people. And they become friends and they say, we forgive you for doing this because it was like an idea that we were fighting. But who wants to fight other people when they actually get to know other people?
No one, usually. That's the whole goal of fighting. Anytime there's a war, the main goal of the warring factions is to make the other side look less than human.
Yeah,
I read a bunch of articles.
They take away the individuality of those people and they just make them a unit.
They dehumanize them and make them look like the bad guy. You have to make them look like the bad guy. You can't win telling your people you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
So to do so, you have to spread misinformation or lies or cast a weird net over the other group. Like what Hitler did with the Jews. I think, right? They're the bad guys. They're stealing everything. They're what's wrong with Europe. Like, you have to create the other. If you can make the other side look so subhuman or bad or threatening to you, That's the only way you can get everyone to fight.
Yeah, or you're telling them that, like, if you're captured by these people, it's going to be awful. Which most, actually, it's strange is that, like, most POWs do endure some awful things because the other people believe that you are inhuman.
Less than human. Which is crazy. I guess it's the fear, the whatever. Well, keep in mind this. Can you imagine if you're like, the other side is Germans right now, but they're just like you and I. I mean, they ended up being the 20-year-olds that went to war. They're just like you. They're just like us. But anyway, we have to shoot them. How hard they bleed our blood. They have problems. Oh, they have wives and children, and most of them didn't really want to be here. And it's kind of hot today, and they're sweating, and we're sweating. We're all sweating. We're all
tired. They're hungry.
But we have to shoot them. It's our. Someone told me. The guy up top told me we have to shoot them. A guy? Yeah, the guy. We're good. We have to shoot them. They're bad guys. It's weird. Like when you think about it and break it down, you have to keep dehumanizing him because to do otherwise, maybe like here's a picture of his wife. She's beautiful.
But you must have
there's their 4 kids.
Like if you're in a war long enough to actually come in contact with someone you've killed, you're taking over their line. You get to look at their wallet. You probably start to understand that. That's
nuts. Can you imagine? How about a lot of them carried letters to their wives or mistresses or whoever? You know what I mean? Their kids.
You start reading. Imagine if they weren't speaking German, but they were speaking English. They start yelling at you to be like, "No, just stop it, man! You're an idiot."
Hold on, dude.
If you were fighting someone from like New Jersey, you're just like, "This is messed up."
It is. I mean, I can't think of a good reason for war other than defensive. What we mentioned earlier, which is weird because
or ideological. We're going to get into religions later, but I could see someone being oppressive with their religion, and that's not how our country works.
I guess. Were you saying they're bringing the religion to our place and forcing it to everyone and making it law?
They're enforcing a certain, they're mixing religion and government and making it.
Oh, I don't think it will work, but what do I know? Yeah.
They talk about that in another thing I want to talk about is Wild Wild Country later on. They had a religion come in and try to take over a town, and they merged government and religion, and they used the government was just like, nope, you can't do that.
Church and state.
Separation.
So warfare back in the 1920s, 30s was a lot of M1 Garand. You're lining up in the trenches, dude. You're throwing some ping. Yes, I can feel the firepower. You know what I mean? Like
how many bullets you got? Like 5,
recoil. Yeah, something like that. And then you got to reload each one. It's just it's a different feel. You got to eye down the scope, and it's not actually a scope. It's usually just a sight, an iron sight. So like you know what I mean? You got to actually look through the iron sight, aim it up with the next sight, and you're shooting at people. You see helmets over there. You see dudes over there. You're going nuts.
And 1 grand clips or 8 rounds?
Oh, 8. Oh, okay.
It was unique because that one gun actually has like a weird clip that goes into the top, and you'd always see yourself reloading it, and then
a lot of games I played.
Yeah.
But fast forward a little bit. World War II, a lot of crazy experimentation happened. They get into mustard gas and all that.
Ooh, you're talking about chemical warfare?
I mean, well, that's where I'm headed. So you start finding more ways to kill more people quicker. Guns were advanced. Chemicals advanced. Bombs were advanced. They started talking about the H-bomb, the atom bomb. America actually, to this day, they're the only country to
actually use it.
Yeah, and use it for another country? That's nuts.
At the time that war was over, yeah.
I hate to do this on like Memorial Day. All this stuff makes America sound like a bank.
Yeah, it does.
I know, but all for America. But just we keep finding more ways to kill more people faster and more efficiently.
So do you think we've hit a ceiling now? Is that everyone now has a nuclear weapon and is deciding this is going to be awful if we use it? It only takes one dictator.
Is that what the Cold War was kind of about?
Yeah,
I mean, it was and it wasn't, but they both were the doomsday clock. They're going to launch all their nukes, and we're going to launch all our nukes. And if that happens, everyone's effed. Everyone. And so that was the peak of warfare. You can't get higher than that, can you? You can't kill more people. What, you would kill the entire Earth instead? That would kill yourself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is the peak of warfare, I imagine. So now that we've peaked, we're finding new ways to kill groups of people, I guess.
Or surgical attacks. So there's
right.
With the nuclear war option, it's less like a peace treaty and more like a stalemate. Mm-hmm. And then now we're thinking of ways to figure out.
You have to go back down and get smaller attacks, ironically.
So we're switching to drones now.
Oh, unmanned. Doesn't cost any manpower. Mm-hmm. No man is actually killing anyone. Really, it is.
But there's somebody in like Vegas or some remote base killing people. Mm-hmm. And I had statistics on
the
number of people killed. It was very low, actually, it was like 2,000 people by drones. And the civilian side of it was like 5%, which sounds like maybe
that sounds good. I think because I feel like remember World War II London bombings where they dropped incendiary bombs on London?
Didn't care.
I feel like that was like 50-50 chance, probably like 80-20 chance.
Oh, I missed my beautiful graph. I had it.
Oh, drop the graph, folks.
I'm gonna find it later.
Another funny thing is right now we're seeing a lot of chemical attacks, sarin gas, and what's
the poisoning of that spy. So Russia was trying to take out somebody because they must have known something. I don't know what I won't say rosin, but that's the wrong thing. That's
rosin's the one that was the White House scandal and it was being emailed to everyone, wasn't it? Is that rosin?
No, rosin.
And by emailed, I mean regular mailed. Oh, that was in Breaking Bad.
I don't know enough about this to talk about it. I'll be honest. I do know the spy was a spy and somebody else was killed, and it was very obvious that the poison that was used came from Russia, and Russia was just like, what? And then everyone else was like, we know you did it. So
and they were like, huh?
That's the underhanded spy games that probably happen all the time. Like whenever
right,
you see
no idea.
A leader was killed in the past, it was probably because the government installed somebody in there to do it.
Very well.
But that stuff was never talked about. I don't even know if it gets declassified.
Because it wasn't a podcast like ours that blow wide open.
Wide open.
Down Panders blows open. Sirhan. Yeah, we got you. Or is that Franz Ferdinand?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyway, it's a famous killer, and one's a famous archduke that was killed at the start of one of the wars. Can't remember which is which.
So
let's
talk about what it's like to be a military person. Like, what are your options? We had different takes on life, I guess, because we both went to the same high school, and then we went to college, and we took careers from there. If you're a military person, there's usually like a reason, because it's either generational, or you don't have enough money, you need a job, essentially, or you really want to kill people, or you want to stand for a cause.
There are people like that.
Yeah, there probably are.
Shit.
Well, like financially, I like the financial part of it because it's
interesting. I do. I almost actually considered the financial undertaking of the military. I swear to God.
To pay for college?
Yeah.
So the current bill right now, the GI Bill, is if you work for the military. If you're an enlisted man for 3 years, they will pay for 4 years. It's like 3 years continuous, which turns out to 4 years non-continuous. Summer's off, let's say. Yeah, so they'll pay up to a public tuition or $20-something thousand for a private, low 20. Yeah, it actually seems like a good deal because you can
pay off your loans instead of paying them for 15, 20 years.
Yeah. And if you wanted to game the system and really think about it, like if you could plan this out when you're in high school, you would probably go in the military and then come back, become a doctor. And then, so after, if you've worked for the federal government for 20 years, you get a pension of 50% of whatever you're making. So you're
not still working for the government if you become a doctor, though, are you?
You could have a private practice. So at NASA, there are people who are working as a civil servant, working for the federal government. You could work as a government civil
contractor.
servant. No, government contractor doesn't cover it.
Okay.
But yeah, you could continue on and then work in that capacity for another 20 years. So imagine starting the military at 18. You probably take a hiatus. By the time you're 40, you probably have enough time to retire and make 50% of whatever you're making. And if you're educated, you're probably making maybe, 6 figures. So you could then retire at 40. And then you get full medical benefits immediately. Like most pensions take effect when you're in your 60s. But this takes effect right away. So if you...
It's a glider type.
This is a scheme.
It's a little bit nice. Okay. Everyone listening, if you're 17,
no one's
close attention. I'm just saying, no one's going to do it.
The problem is that, like, the military lifestyle, and this is my neighbor who I talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. He was in the military for, I would say, like 2 tours. So a tour is, I think, a minimum of 3 years.
Makes sense.
And a maximum of like 6 years. So if you do 2 tours, it could be like almost 10 years. But by that time, you're starting a family, probably.
It's almost 10 years of your life.
Yeah, and you're gone.
The best part of your life. 20 to 30.
Exactly. That's the best time. That's the most fun you can have.
They know that, though.
Yeah, and you're gone. You're out in other countries sweating your ass off, probably, for at least,
possibly dying.
6 to 18 months. You might be doing something really boring, too.
I mean, I know people who do it because they're bored. People who do it because they don't know what to do. I know some people do it and it shapes their lives in a good way. But I also think there's some people who get indoctrinated by it, turn out worse for wear.
Yeah.
Like any other profession in life or any other walk of life, I feel like there's some real jack-offs who do this kind of thing. But there are also some real friggin' good people who do this thing.
I was listening to a podcast about a guy who was in the military for 17 years, and he said that it made sense because most of the military has objectives, and they're trying to accomplish some goal. So it's progressive, and it's very definitive. So he came back and was like a manager for a grocery store, and they said, like, it's very abysmal. Like, there's no goal in sight. So it's like...
We have to conquer Whole Foods. You're like, yeah.
Okay, let's take over an aisle, one aisle at a time.
Yeah, it is weird that you're not only going through school, high school, possibly college, possibly the military. By the time you're like 28, you get out, and now you're like, freedom. And you're like, what do I do? What's next? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know how to live your life a little bit.
I always think about the Shark Tank equivalent because they love the military people because the military people are regimented. A nice military term.
They know. Oh, that's a good term. And they know they're predictable. They're very predictable.
Yeah. So, like, they would make their bed in the morning, wake up at the same time, prepare, and just execute. So, their goal in life is to do something. It's not like some people are just like, oh, I'm done. So, if you were to execute this plan and move forward with it, by the time you're 28, you're free to do what you want. If you've done an intelligent move, you could become a doctor or somebody educated to make more money and work in a field that easily provides for you. Right. So it's not a bad choice.
No, it isn't. And it makes sense. I mean, so if people like you and I would not be good at this, I feel like.
To switch lives, essentially.
Right. Go military.
Yeah, I don't think I could do military. Too regimented, and I'm a nonconformist. I'm a libertarian too, sort of. So it's like anti-government a little bit.
I'm against the government, but
I'm just gonna hide in this bush right here.
Die for them.
Another thing is if you're the pension is if you don't do the educational route, if you're opposite of us and just want to do military, after 20 years you can actually take 50% of your pension, 50% of your salary. Start. Yeah, so it's not bad. It's
no, money wise, it makes sense. It does.
Yeah, and most people are making an average of like $30,000. So by the time they retire, they're probably making 50, and then they get half of that, so they get like 25 automatic with help.
Whatever.
It's not a bad move.
No, it's not. It's a smart move. And we turned it into a little bit of a shit on America episode because it deserves it sometimes. But we will come around and say that most of the service people we know end up being good people, and they go for good reasons, whether it's also because of money.
Yeah,
Makes
some
sense.
people feel justified in a cause.
Right. But also, they are defending our country. I know that sounds weird because most of the time they're on the defense of the other country, but someone does have to do the good things for us. Someone does have to do the dirty things for us. Sometimes, like, people shit on American military moves, but sometimes stuff does have to be done. Does have to be done that's good. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but there's a dog barking, so it's hard.
I know, it's very distracting.
It's really hard, and it's early in the podcast.
What is that dog's name? Where does he live?
That's Otis. He'll be dead in 4 months. I give him 4 months to live.
That's a hearty bark for a deathly dog.
Oh no, he's dying. He's dying. Trust me. The running joke here is that he's dying. He's been dying for 4 years.
That's
he will die soon.
You ever see the graph of like how many people believe that terrorists kill versus how many people are actually killed by terrorists?
Oh, I know. The terrorist number is like 15.
Yeah, it's like 2%. Like how many people actually think terrorists kill is like 15 or 20%. Okay. And it's like it's fear that drives all that decision. But
100%.
To prevent the terrorists from happening, like going on their soil and attacking them there, it makes sense, sort of.
It does. I mean, a little bit, because otherwise they might be here. But that's a might. I mean, it's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Either way, I do respect anyone who's willing to go overseas and just. I mean, they do good things, as in there's like dictator regimes that they're trying to take down. Like, these dictators are screwing over thousands of people, making mothers starve and children die and stuff. And like, I get it. If you're American military, you go over there and you're trying to change it so that they can vote and have a republic. Like, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah,
the ideology of ISIS, like trying to take over areas and like cutting off water to people.
Fighting
like
ISIS.
That's wrong.
You want people to
hammer your door down.
Hammer your door down. Have a choice, and I respect the soldiers for that. So, is that a nod?
I can't tell.
I think it's upstairs.
They're invading you. I think that rounds up our time. You got any more good bits? You got a ghost, man. I don't know. We will say something about the POWs, though. There's that one stadium in Biloxi that has the memorial for ever since World War I.
Minor league baseball team, right?
Yeah, 90,000 people were unaccounted for American soldiers lost in war. It's a lot of people that you can't count for.
That's a lot.
And they might, they're probably responsible for us being here, having a cushy country and living pretty well.
Right.
So
helping us out. And they gave their life, and we're here giving podcasts.
Yeah.
We're going to say something about someone holding an umbrella.
Oh, yeah. Well, you want to say how it perfectly intertwined with Memorial Day?
How convenient.
There might be other memorials. There probably are. Like Arlington.
Probably are.
Where, what was his name? Oh, damn it.
Not Arlington Road, where the bomb's in his trunk. Oop, spoiler alert. It's 1993 for me.
Audie Murphy is buried at Arlington. The most decorated soldier.
Okay. I remember him.
So if you check out our Reddit, there's a guy holding an umbrella over a soldier who is next to that memorial in that stadium. And it's, it's noteworthy.
It is.
Until he stops holding the umbrella. Yeah.
He
until he has to go home.
Any truth to the rumor he was a JROTC Marine cadet and he wasn't actually a soldier?
Oh, he was a cadet. He just randomly stood there.
There's a rumor. Well, I mean, that's his job still. He just might not be a soldier.
Huh. I didn't click on the story, I'll be honest with you. I read the titles.
Oh, that's all we have for you tonight, folks. We're the Unpanders here.
Yeah, thanks.
Love the soldiers. We hate the soldiers, but mostly we love the soldiers.
Soldiers that are against us, we hate. The other country soldiers.
The other country soldiers.
So that rounds up our topic. What else we got? We got some other non-military topics?
I'm just going to talk about, I went to a wedding the other night. It was awesome.
You did? Nice.
It was a cousin's wedding.
Cousins? Like two of them?
All right. I'll tell you two things. One.
Oh, no, is it?
So, Dildan, right?
Oh.
Big big lover of the show.
Yeah.
One of his friends is marrying a cousin, his own cousin.
Oh, no.
Well, not like a first cousin. It's a second
cousin?
Yeah.
So
it's legal.
Genetics are slightly different.
And it's legal.
And
And
she's pretty hot,
I don't
right?
know that they're getting married, but I think they are. And the running joke is if they actually do this, sir, are you here for the bride or the groom? And everyone's going to line up on one side. It's the same people. Is that how that works in those scenarios?
I don't know. If you know both, you're going to be on the bride's side, right?
I guess.
She's the only one who will really be mad about it.
I have no idea. I just think it's funny as hell. Anyway, this wedding I went to was for my cousin, my first cousin. And I have 8 first cousins. Might be rounding in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Might be
I
7.
have like 30.
First cousins?
Yeah.
How many aunts and uncles and crap do you have?
Like dozen.
That sounds wrong.
That's a lot.
How many?
It's like 10.
Your dad was in a family of how many?
4.
And your mom's in a family of how many?
6 or 7.
Okay, never mind. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
that's a lot of
you could
people.
have 30 cousins.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have 8 to 7 or 8 or 9 first cousins. And we're all really close because we're all within 6 years or 7 years. And I'm the firstborn of all of them.
Oh,
the most
man.
important.
You're the prime.
Right. There might be a 9-year period. I feel like I could have been 8 when someone was born. Anyway. So one of the younger girls got married. Wonderful guy. Big shout out. Them.
I
Anyway.
don't remember their names. Too many cousins?
Well, no, I remember her name. I couldn't remember his name. It was disrespectful to say Liam. What's his name? But anyway, Liam, what's his name? Shout out. I only met him a couple times.
Yeah.
I met him a couple times.
For
But it was
as
funny
long as
because-
you'll last. Good job.
They might go the distance. They have good chemistry. Might work. We'll see.
Okay.
But it was funny because with the cousins, I see them every Sunday for my whole life when I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14. And then around age 16, 15, 20, somewhere in there, we stopped. We all stopped going to my grandmother's. I don't see them anymore. I don't really hang out with them. I don't know. They're 4 years younger. But they were my best friends growing up, and they're my family. You know what I mean?
Same deal here.
So this is around when the time when it's she was getting married. We all sat at the same table, and it was all the cousins, and we were telling some of old jokes and ratting on the old aunts and uncles and stuff. And then we went out and danced, and it was really cool because I didn't realize my cousins they're like my friends because you don't count your cousin as your friend, but they are.
Yeah.
And they're also family, and it's cool because
It's an innate friendship.
yeah, it was this half friend, half family person is back in my life. And I was like, yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? And then there's always drinking and dancing, and we had a good time. And it was partying, and we were making fun of each other and teasing each other. And it was like being young again a little bit. I don't know. I thought that was real cool.
I remember those feel when I got married, all my cousins were there. And it was, it's the same feeling. It's funny to see them, you fast forward and then they're mid-20s.
They're older. They're adults, but they're still children. They're still this guy's the loser. This guy, he loves talking about jerking off. Don't talk about jerking off. Right away. And one cousin's big into space, and they're like, you ever see Mars at night? And you're like, relax, it's my wedding. And you know what I mean? They have all their same themes, but now they're adults.
Oh,
I don't know.
we're all just children at heart, really.
We kind of never grow out of it, I guess. I don't know.
Unless you've been to war.
If you've killed 702 people, you would change.
705 would probably change me, too.
Unconfirmed.
He probably ate the bodies.
Whew.
He's hungry.
That's going to change your
Middle
number.
of winter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's a somber note to end on. I'm writing it up for that. Mate, sometimes it's worth it just to end on a dark note.
Well, happy Memorial Day to everybody out there.
Yeah, and if this episode drops near Veterans Day, that happy Veterans Day as well.
The dual purpose post.
Yep. We're going to make it so no one can tell.
Shout out, folks. Thanks for being you. Thanks for tuning in. And most of all, we do like you. We like you.
A lot. Surprisingly.
Surprisingly. I don't know why. You've never volunteered to serve our country, but thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it.
We're the Unpanders, Nick and Dan. Dan and Nick.
Nan and Dick. Thank you.
Good night.